What's going on, fitness coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives Make Money Online Trainer podcast. And in today's episode, Kirsten and I are going to be sharing our fertility journey. We literally made a post on our Instagram the other day announcing our pregnancy. And then the biggest question we got from dozens of people was
so many.
like,
Can't keep
how
up.
the
Yeah.
fuck did you do it?
Or that people are struggling with the same thing. Give us any tips. And obviously, we're not experts, but this ego is prego. So
That ego is prego.
it's going to be the name of the podcast. Brian loves it.
This can be the name of the podcast on your podcast.
This
Not going to be the name of the podcast on my podcast. This ego is prego just doesn't like, just doesn't work for me, you know?
I feel like Change Lives Make Money featuring this ego is prego.
That again, I don't really fucking, not really picking up what that's putting down. You know, I'm just not really down for that.
Brian has been
We've been in 2 peas in a pod.
2 peas in a pod.
I'm suffering with a man cold, which for all of you guys that understand what a man cold is like, it is probably like close. It's really bad.
Do not.
And she's obviously pregnant, so that's hard too.
Okay, so let's just do a vote before we start this podcast. What do you think probably has a little bit more severe symptoms?
Man cold, for sure.
Pregnancy and morning sickness or Brian's man cold? It has been driving me.
No.
I'm throwing up.
I'm dealing with a lot.
20% of the day, you guys are lucky I feel good. 20% of the day, I feel decent. The rest of the time, I am gagging over the toilet.
Oh, yeah, my man cold's really tough too.
Yeah, I'm not even going to tell you what people are saying
That's
about
okay.
you over here. I can't wait for him to feel better so that he can take care of me.
Okay, guys, we're getting into the episode. Okay, Kirsten and I decided we wanted to have kids. It was like an on and off debate for a while, but we actually took it seriously like about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that's when we actually like started trying to have kids.
We weren't using protection.
We weren't using protection.
My ovulation.
Like we were like taking it seriously, and nothing was happening for the first like 6 months. So at the time when nothing was happening, basically, I decided I was going to go get like my levels tested for everything because I'd never done that before.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going into the fertility doctor, getting my levels tested. I just went to a naturopath and you can get your levels tested. And I found out that my like sperm count was literally like 0, like non-existent.
Nada.
Which was definitely a shock. And I had no idea. And I know that Kirsten had some stuff that you were doing on your end as well, but like to find out mine was 0, I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah. So I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm a pretty fertile myrtle. So even when I went and got I went to the naturopath and did the same thing as you did. And I'll actually give the supplements that she recommended me. Like when I went to the naturopath, she said that my levels were like minty. She's like, some of these are what people go for with like IVF. But what she did say, something that we could do was help just like create healthier legs, like help optimize healthier eggs. So the egg health. Okay. So there's 2 supplements that she recommended. One supplement was NAC. I was taking this twice a day at separate times. The other supplement was Q10. And I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. What I will say is those were what she recommended me, but I cannot recommend enough going to a naturopath. One, like Brian's sperm count was 0, but I was like, it doesn't matter that I had Haley. That was 16 years ago. I need to know what's going on in my body now. So just her sitting down and going over everything with me and being like, what we could do is help optimize your egg health. And this is how we can do that. Just like preserve the egg health life, and giving me these supplements was just like, okay, I'm doing everything I can so that when your sperm count increases, then it'll happen.
Yeah. So I knew it was like more so like on me, like for like my stories, like I was on TRT for a few years. And so being on TRT, basically what ends up happening is the boys stop working. They stop working because they don't need to work because I'm giving my body like unnatural testosterone. So my boys stopped working to produce the natural stuff. And so like coming off of that, like I thought coming off of that was going to be enough. So I came off and I basically did like post-cycle therapy, and just like, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just going to share what I did that worked. So I took HCG and Clomid, which are 2 things that you should take post-cycle to basically get your like levels up. And I did that for 6 months, and I was hoping that that was going to be enough to basically get my levels up, was just HCG and Clomid. But after 6 months, I went and I got my levels tested again. And after getting my levels tested again, I was a big fat 0.
Which was super
It was super discouraging.
And I felt for you.
Yeah, it was super discouraging. And it almost like I, at that point, pretty much was like, is this even going to happen? Like, I was kind of like, at that point, I didn't really feel like it was going to happen to us, to be honest with you. Like,
Mm.
I was like, I don't really know if like it's yeah, I just didn't feel like it was gonna
Which
happen.
I could totally understand from your end. What I will say is I always held this, like, I don't know, I just had faith. I couldn't imagine a life where we didn't create like something that was both you and I. So I held on to that faith, but it was incredibly discouraging, especially
Mhm.
when I saw you just like completely change your lifestyle and go all in on this fertility journey, only to get that call and to realize that nothing had improved.
Yeah. So here's the thing is after that 6 months of me basically like just I was in this phase where I was like, I'm just gonna focus on my fertility journey. So I was just basically doing HCG, Clomid, and I hadn't really dialed in my fitness journey yet. After that 6 months and getting my levels tested, I was like, okay, like I actually need to take this shit seriously. And so I'm like, I need to start optimizing what I'm putting in my body. So then I don't know if you remember this, but I made a decision. I was like, I'm cutting out all processed foods.
Yeah, remember.
So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm cutting out all processed foods. Like anything that's processed is no longer entering my body.
And he did.
And I'm like, I'm gonna make sure that I'm like giving my body like the highest possible chance of success. So I'm literally cutting out all the garbage that like could impact that. So basically, the only thing I was eating was like meat, fucking vegetables, and fruit. By the way, I don't even like vegetables, so I'm just
Yeah.
saying that I don't even like veggies. But I made a decision. I was like, the only thing I'm gonna eat is like non-processed foods. And then that was one thing. Another thing I did, and again, I'm not a doctor, so don't take my fucking advice at face value. If you need doctor advice, go consult a doctor. But I'm going to tell you what worked for me because it was pretty cool. Another thing I did is I reached out to one of my friends that is a bodybuilding coach. Now, in the bodybuilding world, like everybody knows who Chris Bumstead is, right? Chris Bumstead, super famous bodybuilder, like fucking 4-time Olympia champion.
Mm,
Chris Bumstead's having babies. Okay. So if Chris Bumstead's having babies, Chris Bumstead does a lot of gear. All right. So I know that there are other ways to get the fertility going. And so I reached out to one of my bodybuilding coaches and I was like, yo, like, is there any possible like way that you know that you can stimulate like hormone production? And he said,
mhm,
yes. He's like, basically what you want to do is you want to take HMG alongside HCG. And I'm basically gonna read to you what they do. So HMG and HCG work together to boost natural testosterone and sperm production. HMG has two hormones, FSH and LH, that tell your body to make more sperm and testosterone. HCG acts like LH and signals your body to pump up more testosterone. Basically, HMG helps grow sperm and HCG makes sure your body keeps producing testosterone. So I started taking HMG a few weeks after my like test where I was at 0.
mhm.
And then literally 8 weeks after that, you were pregnant.
Yeah, and you there was a couple phone calls he had with his naturopath where she was like, "Oh, it's not at 0, it's at
Right.
2."
Yeah.
And then it wasn't 2, it was at 10, and we were like, "Oh, this is exciting, like,
Yeah.
this could happen." And I started tracking my temperature because when you're ovulating, your temperature will rise. I started taking, like, ovulation strips. Funnily enough, the month that I got pregnant, I hadn't taken an ovulation strip, it just was like it just happened. But
Yeah.
we were always making sure like we were having for like, I don't know, TMI, but whatever, who fucking cares? We were having sex like every other day
Mhm.
or every day. Like, so no matter what, whether it was like we were always having sex during my ovulation period.
Yeah.
And it was really crazy because I think like alongside the supplements and whatnot that we took, like I know that there was a couple times where you got discouraged and I got discouraged and I didn't want to tell him when I would like get my period. I'm like, ah, fuck, right? But we like we held faith. Like every single night we listened to a video and the start of the video goes, "This shit is happening really fast to us right now. Our baby boy is on the way. He is healthy, strong, and is the cutest child along with Hey Bae." Every single day we listen to that video. On both of our vision boards, we have the same picture of a newborn baby. We have like on my vision board, there is a pregnant Megan Fox because Megan Fox is my fucking idol. Megan, if you're watching this, I love you. She's pregnant too. So let's be friends, Megan, please.
Don't think she's watching this. Don't think she's watching.
She will. I think she'll need like a pregnant friend and I think we'd get along well. But I had it all over my vision board. And then every morning I had affirmations that I would look at and it was baby Mark is on the way and we're so ready. And so every single day I was affirming to myself, like, I'm ready.
Same.
You
I
same
was the
with Ryan.
same.
We're like, and we
Yeah.
even look at each other and we'd be like, this is the time. Like,
Yeah.
we're both so ready. And I kid you not, on my January goals, I literally had baby Mark on there with a little pregnant girl. I'm going to make a post and put a picture with what was there. And lo and behold, at the end of no, January like 26th, I was like, I'm taking a pregnancy test and
Bam.
And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God."
I,
I like fell to the ground because
yeah.
Brian was on a meeting and I was like, it was wild. Everything you see in the video was like very organic, very in the moment. Like I had pretty much blacked out, tried to blow up a balloon, couldn't talk properly, just like it was insane. It
Yeah.
was crazy.
Yeah. I think it was like a combination of like both of us were doing everything in our power to make it happen. And
Everything.
so even though like what was showing like on the front end was that like I had a low sperm count, blah, 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 like both of us were still doing everything we could to make it happen. And both of us were super optimistic that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So like both of us, like neither one of us was like, oh, like what the fuck? Like
Mhm.
neither one of us was like acting discouraged or upset every month. It was like we were both just like, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. Like
Mhm.
I think that was a big
Totally. Yeah.
mindset is like we are like, it'll happen when it's supposed to happen. We just like held faith, we stayed strong, we just didn't waver and fucking wham bam, wham, just like that. You're pregnant. It's gonna come out like
Yeah.
that.
So when I announced, I was tired, but very excited. And shortly after that, things changed. I'm very not well. I am not well. I have not felt like this. Like I went and did a workout today and I was like, man, like I can't lift anything without feeling like I actually should have gone and worked out now because this is the best I've felt all day right now. And I actually felt kind of decent through my
You're welcome. It's because you're talking
momentum
to me.
call. But yeah, I knew it would happen eventually. You got to hold faith, right? And I think it's all about the way you speak about it too. Like I never once came out of my mouth, it's not going to happen for us. Not once. Anytime I talk to anybody, I'd say, it's going to happen really soon. It's going
Mm-hmm.
to happen really soon
Mm-hmm.
for us. I would guarantee it's going to be in the next few months. And I just think like you can take all the supplements you want in the world, but if you aren't supplementing your mind with positive talk and you're just kind of like speaking about all the concerns you have and what ifs versus like the good what ifs, like what if it happens? What if it happens this month? Then I think you're just going to continue to keep yourself stuck
Mm-hmm.
personally.
So that's it. Baby Mark's on the way. I think it's a boy.
But he was really cute. And he said that if it was a girl, you'd be over the moon.
I did say that.
He did say that.
Yes, I
So
did.
I think it's a boy too, because this is very different than my pregnancy with Haley. I wasn't like super sick with Haley, but this pregnancy, I've been puking every day,
Okay.
every day and every night.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully, this gave you some insight. If you are on a fertility journey and you're struggling, we just want you to know we did it. And my boys were not even working. Okay.
And they are now.
And they are
I'm
now.
excited
And we're excited.
for you to be my baby daddy.
I already am.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to be. Well, I guess, yeah. I'm glad that you are. I'm glad that you are.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys have the best day of your entire lives. Where do they find you, babe?
You can find me, honestly, just the real Kirsten Mark pretty much across all platforms. Blue check mark Pachachos.
Brian Mark on Instagram, Brian Mark on YouTube. Change lives, make money on the Internet podcast.
Let's go.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully you got some value. If you did, and you want to learn more about how me and my team can help you scale your online fitness business to $10,000 a month, DM me 10K on Instagram at @TheRealBrianMark for more information, and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help you grow an online coaching business.